Hi guys, I hope everyone's doing all right. I just want to walk you guys through what the expectations were for today. So if you're on Canvas, where you should always begin, we're on our May 4th assignment. You should have already read this weekly message and you're currently watching this must-watch video on how to set up your Khan Academy account. Your third thing that you should do is click this practice link and it's going to open something into a new window on Khan Academy, which you guys for the most part should be familiar with. Now, the difference is, and this is the first time that we're doing this in my classroom, is that you're either going to log in or sign up. So if you know you have an account already, go ahead and put login, and you're just going to log in through Google. And if you do not have an account, then you can hit sign up and do the same thing through Google. You can put in all of this stuff and then sign in through Google, okay? And also, if you are a new user, you should have gotten something on your CMS email to show you how to log into an account. All right, so people that need to sign up, if you guys can see this, for example, this is my third block. All of these people in blue, and I can slow down so you can pause the video, already have an account, and all of these people right here do not. So you guys should have gotten an email um, to say how to log in. And then for my fourth block, same thing here. All the people in blue already have an account, so you can just go ahead and log in, and everybody right here still needs to sign up. All right, so I'm going to log in because I already have made my account. I'm going to continue with Google. And now I'm in. Okay, so what your assignments look like. I assigned 4 things to you guys. And I'm not sure if it's going to look like this on your account, but this is what it looks like from the teacher account. So there are all the exercising, simplifying square roots with variables, expressions, and then the review. Okay, so exercise, 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 article. What that means is that when you take a look at the side panel right here, half of these are videos. So video, practice, video, practice. You're only required to do the practice for me. If you're stuck, the great thing is that there's videos that go along with the practice. So this one right here is mandatory. This one right here, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one that I'm going to be collecting from your accounts. All right, so let's go over and let's just review this real quick. I'll do a few of them with you. All right, so 108. I need to figure out what square roots go into 108, and I think 9. The square root of 9 is a perfect square, and I'm pretty sure it goes into 108, but I can double check. There's a calculator here. I'm just going to use my TI. So let's see. Does 9 go into 108? It does, and it's times 12. So what happens is that I could rewrite this as the square root of 9 times 12. Which one of these is a perfect square? Well, I know 9 is a perfect square, and the square root of 9 is 3. So that 3 no longer needs to be under the radical. So I can bring it out as a 3, and what is remaining under the radical is 12. Now I ask myself the same question, is there a perfect square that goes into 12? And I know 4 goes into 12, and that 4 is a perfect square because it equals 2. So I would rewrite this as 3 on the outside, and on the inside of the radical, I could write it as 4 times 3. And if you can start doing this in your head, that's fine with me. 4 is the perfect square because it equals 2, so it no longer needs to be under this radical. I can bring it out. 3 times 2 is on the outside, and what's left over is 3 under the radical. My final step is to simplify this. I can multiply these on the outside to equal 6, and what's left over is 3. If I want to double check it, I for sure can. So, what is the square root of 108? Because that was our original question. 10.4. And then let's see if this is equivalent. 6, the square root of 3 is exactly the same, so I know that my answer is correct. I'll put in 6, the square root of 3, check my answer. It gives me a nice little buzz. I got it correct, and I do all 4 of them. All right, so that was step 1. and move on to my next set of practice problems. So you do 4 in this category, and let's move on to like the level 2 problems. All right, so this one's only slightly different because it has a variable, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. I figure out, so what goes into 27? Well, I know 27 equals 9 times 3, and I can drop down the variable a. Why did I pick 9 times 3? It's because I know one of those, 9, is a perfect square, which equals 3. So instead of writing it as 9 under a radical, I can just pull out 3 on the outside and leave everything else under the radical. I'm going to ask myself a question again. Is anything under the radical a perfect square, or has a number that can be a perfect square that goes into it? 3 is not, a is not, so my final answer is just going to be 3, the square root 3a. All right, and I keep on going. So remember, hit the next question and keep on going. This one I do want to do with you guys as well, because it's slightly different because the variable has a higher exponent. All right, so 20. Let's see, what goes into 20? I know 4 and 5 go into 20. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 is a perfect square and equals 2. So I'm going to change the 20 to 4 times 5. So this 20 in blue changes to 4 times 5. Second, x to the 8th. We want to pay attention here because this is a even number. So what number times itself is 8x to the 8th? With exponents, we can just divide that by 2. So the square root of 8 is x to the 4th because x to the 4th times itself is x to the 8th. Because remember, with exponents, we add them when we're multiplying. So x to the 8th is the same thing as x to the 4th times x to the 4th. What we can do is, I don't even need to do this stuff if I'm good with my mental math. I can pull out the square root of 4, which is 2. And since there's 2 of these, I can pull out x to the 4th. What's left over is just this 5. Okay, so remember, this looks kind of confusing. I have x to the 4th and x to the 4th. If I square root it, then it just comes x to the 4th on the outside, and the only thing remaining on the inside is 5. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Check that, it was good, and I can move on. The last ones that I want to go over with you are expressions. These can be a little bit more difficult, but not too bad overall as well. All right, so remember, order in multiplication does not matter, so I can rearrange this. I have my coefficients to my radicals as 2 and 3, so I can do 2 times 3, and if they're both under the radical, 7x and 14x squared, they can remain together under the radical. All right, so let's combine where I can. On the outside, I have 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6. And then the easiest thing under the radical for me is to combine the x's. So x and x to the 2nd is going to be x to the 3rd, because remember, there's an invisible 1 right here. Next thing I could do 7 times 14, these two. And if I wanted to, I could do that on my calculator. And I could put 98. So I could put 98 here if I wanted to. However, there's a trick, and you can begin to use this as you're comfortable. I could keep it as 7 times 14 if I wanted to, just because I know 14 is equivalent to 7 times 2. What I'm going to do with that is drop everything else down. And this way, it's easier to see the 7 that I dropped down, this 7, times 7 times 2, and then drop down the x to the third on the back. If I have 7 times 7 here, I know it's a perfect square because it's equal to 49. Drop everything else down, 2x to the third. Which one of these is a perfect square? Well, I know 49 is a perfect square, and I can bring out what it equals, which is a 7. So on the outside, I have 6 times 7 now. The 49 is done, and under my radical, I still have 2x to the third. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. 42 on the outside when I multiply them, 2x to the third. And now I'm almost done. I'm going to ask myself, are any of these perfect squares? Or have a perfect square that can go into it? And taking a look at this, because this exponent is a 3, I know there's something I could do. Odd exponents aren't that great to work with, so I can change this to x to the second times x to the first, because they are equivalent. Drop everything else down. And now which one of these is a perfect square? X to the second. And the square root of x to the second is just x. So that's what I'm going to pull on the outside, and this cancels. What's remaining now for my problem is a 42 on the outside and an x. What's remaining under the radical is a 2 and an x. So this should be your final answer. Let's double check. And I'm good there. So what you're going to do, remember, you're just doing the practice. 1, 2, 3, 4. This last one is the one that you have to do as well. And when you're done with that, I should be getting your scores on Khan Academy through your account. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out.